6, and Councilman Reagan, you had pulled this item.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes. For those that didn't get a chance to really look at the packet this week in depth, I would encourage you to look at number 6, because I think this is one of the most important documents that we put out as a city. And for those that really want to nerd out or see where we were 10 years ago and which direction, we're trending, and how we've kind of overcome, 2020 COVID, where we're at now. This is a fascinating document. It's quite long. I don't know what it was, maybe 150, 200 pages long. And you can break it up by section, but it is a fascinating document. And so I just wanted to pull it to kind of give us a chance to highlight some of the direction that we're headed. Marjorie, anything that you would like to point out? I have specific points, but I just wanted to give kind of staff an opportunity to kind of highlight any things that you wanted to point out.
For one thing, we've seen our firemen's retirement fund, our pension fund, improve. The funded ratio of it's improved over the past 3 years. So we're right close at about 50%. It is the result of several years of positive investment returns. It's one of those things that's very sensitive. If all of a sudden it started going down, it could very easily go the opposite way, which is why we've formed the pension committee and we're trying to identify long-term solutions for it. But after seeing it go down for several years, seeing it start to consistently go up for at least 3 years now is a really positive thing to see that growth.
Yeah. And I had posted about the crime rate, and I think social media can distort things a little bit, and I think the general perception was, crime is increasing, but actually looking at the numbers a few weeks back, crime has actually decreased by, in some cases, 20%. And in this report, it has the taxable base, all that kind of stuff, but it also goes into number of accidents that we responded to. And I think it's gone down by 30% over the last 6 years. And so that's something that I think is lost in the day-to-day conversations out there. But it's not just crime, but it's also car accidents have decreased by, again, I think it was 30% that I saw. And I went, wow, that's something that we really don't hear about. But also the taxable base, Abilene is growing. We're almost to 11 billion. We crossed the 10 billion taxable real estate value. We're now at just under 11 billion. I think it was 10.9 or 10.8 billion dollars worth of. Yes,
for net taxable value, and I kind of think about it in the net taxable value way, so I have 9.3 in my head, but I know that we're projected to probably get close to 11 to closer to 12 within the next couple of years. So that's what our projections show.
And for those that want to look at the number of employees the city has, you can look at it by department. I thought that was fascinating to see over the last, I think it was 10 years, went back to 2016. You can see which departments have decreased, increased, what have stayed the same. Police and fire, you can see their numbers over the last 10 years. I thought that was very fascinating. The tax rate, I think that graph only went down to, or back to maybe 2020, but I think it was 0.78, and now we're down to 0.75. And you can also look at the amount of debt that we have and how much we're paying to service that debt, which has actually decreased over the last, I believe, 5 to 6 years as well. And so I looked at this document and was very encouraged by the direction financially, but also just citywide, kind of the direction that we're headed. And sometimes we get lost in, this month issues or this year's issue. But over the last 10 years, the direction of the city has been really good according to this. Anything jumping out at you from a financial, or Emily, I'll ask you as well, anything trending that besides the firemen that you thought was really good? Or I know you talked about the fireman's pension, but I just wanted to give staff an opportunity to speak on this document, just because I saw a lot of great things. And again, if you want to nerd out, if you want the details, here is our city encapsulated. Emily, anything that you want to jump on?
I think I'll just echo your comments that we're so absorbed with the here and now and what is happening, the challenges that we face, and so being able to look historically and see the progress our city has made, the investments that the city has made in our community and in our infrastructure, in our employees. I do believe this is a good way for us to remember. Sometimes looking backwards is a good way to know how to look forward, and so just in general, that I would echo your comments.
Thank you. And I would tell you, we've got a couple of candidates for city council, I think, out in the audience. This is a document that I would encourage everyone to read, but especially those, because this will give you the background, but it also give you kind of where we're headed as well. Thank you, Marjorie.
Thank you.
It's fascinating.
Can I pull Marjorie back?
Absolutely.
I know you don't want to be there, but we're gonna love on you. I think it's important also. We hear a lot from the citizens. Questions about our budget, questions about fiscal responsibility. I just want to highlight there's the audit that's done. Is it done in-house? Is it done independently? I think it's important to highlight that.
We do a lot of the work ourselves, developing all of the audit adjustments, and then our auditor does assist us with the preparation of the financial statement. So it's very much a collaborative process.
Right. So just know that there is obviously things done in-house, but there's a separate entity, an independent auditor, if you will, that oversees it, looks through it, and comes to the understanding like there is fiscal responsibility being had within the city. And I think that's important to
Yes.
highlight for you and your team. So thank you for that. Another thing that I think is worth noting is recognizing, the long-term sustainability of the pension. Blaze mentioned this earlier. I would love to know, and this may be a Mari question instead of you, but what are some ways in which we're able to kind of highlight some of the fruit that has come from this report that maybe, citizens would be really excited to hear? Because a lot of people won't get into a dense document. That's just the reality. But I think there's an important way to highlight or to communicate on our end to the broader citizens some of the beautiful work that's been done in this long tenure of financial spending, growth, balancing crime. And I think it highlights, the award we were given, one of the most livable cities, if you will, in the nation. So I'd love to know, is there a communication plan? Is that something kind of you team with Mari on?
We do have just your basic information out there already on our transparency site, but there is an opportunity to try to prepare and condense that information in a way that's more digestible by the public.
I would love that, and I just wanted to highlight, thank you. Obviously, it's not a you thing. It's every department head, every one of the employees that works for our city. I just want to highlight the incredible work that's being done, and I know that you guys hear a lot of demands, but just knowing that you're holding it responsibly just really excites us, and unfairly enough, we get most of the praise, which most people know we don't do a lot of these things. It's you guys that do it, and we're just grateful that we get to ride the coattails, so thank you for that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd just like to echo Councilman Craver. I'm a tax man. I'm not an auditor, but I am aware of the work that goes into these reports, and I know you and your team worked really, really hard on this, and I appreciate y'all hammering this whole thing out, because I know it's a lot of work.
It is a pretty massive document to pull together every year, so we put a lot of work into it, and I'm so proud of our staff that works so much and puts a lot of detail into the work they're doing. So,
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thanks, Margie.
thank you.
At this time, I will open up the public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak either for or against item 6? Please come forward and give your name for the record.
Tammy Fogel, resident of Abilene, and I'm probably the only person who's a candidate who will speak out publicly on this, because I have already broken the cardinal rule of never speaking in front of a city council meeting if I intended to run for office. But I think it's important to talk, and I am beaming a little bit of pride here that we're having conversations about including the public with more information. That's amazing. That's what I've been asking for years. I think we have a long way to go, because preemptively we could have given this information, because I think that's the problem, is so many times the citizens only hear the negative or they hear the complaining, the grumbling. And when you give information out beforehand, it kind of gives people the ability to start seeing the things like Councilman Reagan is seeing, the benefits and the perks. Because yes, I was recently thinking, what in the world is going on in Abilene? It seems like there's someone being killed or hit or murdered, or there's just a lot going on. But in the big perspective, it's not. It's just a small glimpse in what's happening now, not over the overall crime rate. I'm glad that the fund for the firemen is improving, but we're still like to the tune of, like, I don't know if that's now $70 million or it's $67 million, or I don't even know the amount, but we're at least $60 million underfunded, and it's been that way. I've talked to firemen who are retired and talked to board members who I've discovered since then that there's not been a COLA, a cost of living increase, for firemen who've retired in 20 years. There's been one. And that's a problem. Same goes for the city staff. We've got to work on that. I also thought it was interesting that we are making our third payment to the AYSA of $800,000. I was pretty much, I think I was the only citizen at that meeting when we talked about the $4.9 million we were contributing as a city to the AYSA Flatfield project. I think that's right. Yep. And so we still have one more payment to go. And those are things that we need to know, that we're spending American Rescue Plan, the American Rescue Plan Act funds on tourism and sports fields, and we're struggling with being able to say that we can competitively pay our firemen. Something has to, there's some disconnect when we are talking about the fiscal. I see your face. The fiscal good place we're in right now, there should be some connection to that, why it's a struggle to know how to pay the firemen their competitive pay. And I understand there's other issues at play, but there's just some mixed messages going on. That's what I'm talking about. And you may not agree with me, and that's okay. But I do think we have to do some more work at communicating what's going on fiscally, because like I said, the budget seems to be planned with a tax rate increase every year, and instead of planning it with a tax rate decrease, which is below the no new revenue rate, which helps citizens understand the difference between what they're currently paying. We're getting all this revenue in. We need to make sure that we're budgeting to allow the citizens not to bear the burden. And I think by reading this over 200-page document is not realistic for most people, so a better job of communicating would be very helpful. Thank you.
Still on item 6, would anyone else like to speak? No one. I will close the public hearing. Is there any further comments, or I will accept a motion?
Move for approval.
I have a motion by Councilman Beard,
Second.
second by Councilman Craver. Further discussion? Ready to vote?
All yeses, motion carries.
Motion carries.